Hey friends, welcome back to the Hooligan Knitter podcast. As always, I am your host and resident hooligan, Sierra. It's been a hot minute. I'm sorry that I just kind of went MIA there for like a month. You may remember from the last episode that my husband and I just purchased our first home. So we've been a little busy with packing and moving and redecorating the house. The house hadn't been updated in decades. So we spent a lot of time, sanding down and revarnishing floors and ripping out carpets, removing wallpaper, repainting. So I've been a little busy. But that does mean that I have 6 finished objects because, of course, I have also been knitting. And yeah, let's talk about it. We did hit 150 subscribers, which is bonkers. Since then, someone unsubscribed, so we're back at 149. But I decided that we can do a little Q&A this episode. I'm not sure if we will get through all of them because we've got a lot. I've got a little notebook full of notes. I'm drinking some tea with French vanilla creamer in my Be Humble, Be Kind mug. Let's get to it. So we'll start with FOs. I'm wearing an FO. I guess I can stand up and show you. This is my Sew Summer shirt by Jessie May. I knit this out of Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino, and I think the color name is Strawberry Ice Cream or Strawberry Sundae, strawberry something. It's been out of stock for forever, but that's what it is. I used just over 3 balls of yarn for this, which is pretty cool because they come in like 50-gram balls. What did I do? I did folded cuffs and hems for everything. You can see I was a little worried because before blocking, my collar was flaring out super bad. It looked terrible, and I was really worried that I was gonna have to rip it out and redo it. And I knitted all of the hems down like as I was binding off, and so going back and undoing the bind off while also like undoing the seam, I just didn't want to do that. So I decided to just give it a good block, and if that didn't work, I was going to put in some elastic to hopefully help it like cinch in, like hold its shape. But thankfully blocking seems to have pretty much fixed it. So yeah, I love her. She is fresh off the blocking mats. I took it off the blocking mat. I took it off this table this morning, and I want to wear her. So I love her. I could definitely see myself making more of these. Maybe not with folded hems because that was kind of a pain in the ass, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I can see this getting a ton of wear. Okay, next finished object. This is not one of my finished objects, but it is a finished object that I own. Johanna from Femme Knitted knit this gorgeous Diagon Alley jumper by Fable Knitwear. I think they said this was their first sweater that they ever knit, which is insane. Unfortunately, they knit it in alpaca. And they can't wear alpaca because it's itchy to them, which is very sad, but not sad for me because now I have this gorgeous sweater And it's got these fun shoulder details, trying not to put it in my coffee. Like shoulder pleats. I did post a reel on Instagram of me wearing this in my kitchen and doing a little fit check. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I am not used to wearing things with no ease or negative ease, and this is like pretty fitted on me. That's just how Fable Knitwear designs most, if not all, of her patterns. So I wasn't sure at first if I was going to like this, but I think I do. I think it looks really nice. But yeah, I did not knit this, but I do intend to wear it a lot, so I thought I would share. All right, what else can I show? This was not even a whip last time I recorded, but it's an FO now. I had 3 skeins of bulky weight alpaca in my stash. Actually, I think it was the first like nice yarn that I ever bought, like 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, actually. No, 4. And for a long time, I felt like I couldn't use it because it was nice yarn, and I felt like I wasn't ready, like I didn't deserve to knit with a nice yarn. But then we were moving, and I like rediscovered this yarn, and I was like, I can use nice yarn now. I've earned it. So I made a Boneyard shawl by Stephen West. And I really like it. Like I said, this is 3 skeins of bulky weight, 100% alpaca from Juniper Moon Farms. The base is called Harriet. And actually, I think they might have discontinued this color because the tag on the yarn said the colorway was color 147. And if you go on the website now, that color doesn't exist. So she's vintage. This hasn't been blocked yet. I am going to a wedding in December. My husband's cousin is getting married, and it's like a formal event. And December in Wisconsin, it's gonna be cold. So I figured a nice bulky weight alpaca shawl would be perfect to wear to keep me snuggled up. But yeah, I will block this at some point because I would like it to be like as big as possible. But I mean, it's a pretty good size already. I mean, it goes down like pretty far. But if I can get any extra, length out of this, that would be pretty cool. And it's alpaca, so I am anticipating that it's gonna grow. So I'm excited to see what happens to this with blocking, but in the meantime, she's pretty big already. But yeah, I definitely see myself making more Boneyard shawls as well. It's a super simple, free pattern. It's not difficult at all. It does start with a garter tab cast on, which can be a little fiddly if you've never done it before, but it's totally doable. And once you get it cast on, it's just stockinette back and forth with an occasional purl bump detail. Yeah, not much else to say about that. This next finished object was also not a whip last time. But here we are. I am just like in my shawl scarf era, I guess, or I was. This is An Italian Summer Scarf by Francesca of An Italian Knitter. And I knit this out of Wool and the Gang Feeling Good yarn in the color Margot. And I lost Yarn Chicken on this. So this is how it's supposed to look, but I ran out of yarn a couple of decreases away from that point. But it's fine. I was not gonna go buy yarn to, yeah. I really like this color. And this yarn is really soft too. I don't remember the fiber content. There might be alpaca in this. Spoiler alert, I'm also in my alpaca era. But yeah, it's a pretty good size. Not much else to say. It has these nice like eyelet details going all the way across. It is, I guess, a triangular shawl. So if you were looking to make a triangular garter stitch shawl with increases and then decreases and an I-cord edging, this is a free pattern. That's all I'm gonna say. This one does, however, have increases on both sides. So instead of it being like another triangular garter stitch scarf with I-cord edging, it does increase on both sides to the center point. I'm doing a terrible job showing this. And then it just decreases. It's pretty long. Okay. That's all I got for that one. Let's keep riding the shawl train. I finished my fake half and half wrap, which has also not been blocked. I don't think you need to block shawls, scarves, unless there is like texture or, you know, cables maybe. If it's just a garter stitch thing, I'm not gonna block it. But anyway, this is done. Was this done last time? I don't know. But she's done and she's big. I have not quite figured out how to wear her yet. I think the general idea with the half and half is to maybe fold it along like this, and then you can, like a nice heavy 2-layered shawl, which is very nice, and I might do that. Or you can wear it, you can fold it and wear it more like a stole, which to my understanding is just a big long rectangle that you wrap around yourself. So you would fold it. God, there's so much fabric here. So you'd fold it like this, maybe make it look like a little bit better, or not. Yeah, or not. And wear it like a big old stole. I don't think it's quite long enough for that, but theoretically you could. I guess you could also wear it like a neck scarf type shawl. And wait, no, I don't know what I'm doing. like this, but this seems like a lot. Yeah, I don't know about that one, gang. Anyway, she's done. For this, I used Broco Vintage, the worsted weight base. It also comes in DK. And I used the colors Cracked Pepper and Rye. 3 skeins of each color, so 6 skeins total. And yeah, I've talked about it before, but I'm calling this my fake half and half because I didn't want to follow the real half and half instructions. The real half and half instructions has you cast on like all the stitches right away. So you're kind of like locked into that stitch count and that size. You're working like smaller. I felt too boxed in by that. I like to be in control. So I basically just did like a giant mitered square where I started with, I think, 3 stitches and then increased until I was like, yep, that's a good size, and then changed colors and just decreased, which is not at all what the pattern says you're supposed to do. It also says you're supposed to use a fingering weight yarn. I used a worsted. But yeah, it's a giant square with half one color, half the other. So it's a half and half to me. And if you are interested as far as like increase what I did or like decreases or I don't know, anything like that, just, I don't know, leave a comment or ask me in my DMs. Yeah, that's all I got for that. I do really like it. I am excited to be able to wear her. I'll probably wear her the first way where it's like wrapped around my shoulders because it's really thick and squishy, and having 2 layers of that around my shoulders, I think it's gonna be really nice. We have a backyard now for the first time ever with a fire pit. So we've been having bonfires out there, and obviously in July, this isn't needed because it's like 85 degrees. I don't know what that is in Celsius, sorry Anna. But I think in the fall, when it gets a little bit cooler, like a little chilly at night, sitting around the fire, having this around my shoulders is going to be so nice. And I'm really excited. Okay, last finished object that I have to show is a Cozy Classic Raglan Light by Jessie May. Wow, it's so wrinkled. I knit this out of Purl Soho's Linen Quill and the color Turmeric Yellow, which is not showing up very well. Oh, that's good. That's a good color. Johanna also sent me this yarn because, again, with the alpaca, that sucks. I kind of hooliganized this pattern. What did I do? I cast on for the smallest size for the neckline because I saw in some of the pattern photos that the neckline was really wide and I didn't want that. So I cast on for the smallest size, did some 1x1 ribbing, and then increased stitches to the 5th size. Is that what I did? Maybe. And then followed the raglan increases to a T. Did a good job there. And then I think I was concerned about my gauge because obviously I didn't gauge swatch. So what I did was I cast on a shit ton of stitches under the arm. Like, I think the pattern for my size wanted you to cast on 6 stitches. I cast on 20. I think it was 20 under each arm. That wasn't necessary. My gauge was like actually fine. It might have been like a little more fitted than the pattern recommended, but again, I'm not used to wearing garments that are more fitted, so I was scared. So we cast on 40 stitches. And really all that did was make it like pretty baggy through the arms, because like obviously you have to pick up those stitches. So the arms are there's a lot of positive ease through the arms. And then even like in the body, there's like a good amount of positive ease. And I used all 3 skeins of the linen quill that I had, and this ended up a little bit cropped. I guess I could try it on. Hold please. And this has also not been blocked because it's, like I said, 85 degrees and I don't really need an alpaca sweater at the moment. So I guess it's not that cropped, maybe a little. My belly button is here, but so yeah, as you can see, there's like a decent amount of positive ease, especially in the arms. So I think for my next one, because I will be making another, I have yarn and plans. I will not be casting on 20 stitches under each arm. I think that might have been excessive. But I mean, she's a cute little oversized yellow sweater and I do really like her. Guess I could like fold up the ribbing a little bit. I don't know. She's cute. I like her. The sleeves I did like bracelet length because I was playing a little bit of yarn chicken, and also when I eventually block this, I figure the sleeves will grow and the body will grow too. So maybe when I block this, I'll focus on like really stretching it downwards. So hopefully it doesn't grow too much outward. We'll see. I'll keep y'all posted, but yeah. I love this color. I'm a yellow girly. I'm a red girly. She's so wrinkled, but there's my first fingering weight sweater. That's pretty cool. And I think she turned out pretty good, considering the modifications that I made and general disrespect for the pattern. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this on. Those are the FOs that I have to show. I did finish the blue essential beanie that I was working on for our realtor, Marco. He loved it. He was like super thankful. He put it on right away. I hated every minute of knitting that thing. What did I use? I used some Michaels acrylic yarn, and I have nothing against acrylic yarn. I use it, but something about that specific acrylic yarn and the gauge that I was knitting it at, it was a worsted weight acrylic and I was knitting it on 3.75 millimeter needles, which is a US 5, and it's all over ribbing. It's all over 2x2 ribbed hat, and it just hurt my hand so much to knit on that stupid hat. I was not having a good time. It was squeaky. Will not be doing that again. Lessons have been learned. No more worsted weight essential beanies on 3.75 millimeter needles, at least not in acrylic. Okay, those are the things I finished since last time. I do currently have 8 works in progress. However, I've really only been working on 2 of them. I'll show you two of the two that I've been like actively working on, which are new whips since last time. Everything else has really not been seeing a lot of love, other than the things that I finished, obviously. Things that have not been finished and I have not really touched. My Santa cardigan by the Crayabea, have not touched. My Tulsa tank, also by the Crayabea, I have touched. I've done a couple of rows on it, but it's just stocking it in the round right now. I think I've done 5.5, 6 inches of the body, and I need to knit it to be about probably like 12 inches. So we're like halfway there on the body. What else have I not touched? My green season sweater, I have worked on. I finished a sleeve. I don't know if that was done since last time, but one sleeve is done and I have picked up for the second sleeve, and I just done a couple of rows here and there, nothing like major to show. What else? My red triangular garter stitch shawl with I-cord edging, haven't touched. I have a pair of blue vanilla socks for my mother-in-law. I don't remember where I was in those last time I showed them, but the heel is done. I'm knitting those cuff down. I don't know why. I just cast them on, didn't even think about it, and they're cuffed down. But the cuff, leg, and heel are done. I'm working on the foot, but it's just a vanilla sock. It lives in my purse. It gets a couple of rounds here and there. Other than that, not too much. What else do I have in my needles? My bookshop cardigan. Haven't worked on much. I think that's about everything. If I'm forgetting anything and you are like, hey, what happened to that? I either forgot about it or it's been frogged. Anyway, let's talk about the things that I have been working on. Let's start with this hat. So this hat was a choice. I just cast this on like 2 days ago, I think. And I know better. I'm not a new knitter. I've knit many things. I know about like properties of different yarns and like I know things. But for some stupid reason, I decided to knit a cabled hat in a single ply yarn. Now, if you're not super familiar with different types of yarn, a single ply yarn is exactly what it sounds like. So there's only one ply of the yarn, one piece. Instead of there being multiple plies and them being like twisted together, it's just the one. And the reason why it's a choice to knit a cabled hat in single ply is because single ply yarn does not show texture well. Why are they being loud? They're being loud. Anyway, I'm knitting the hat and I knew it wasn't gonna look good, but I have this absolutely incredible yarn that my good friend Alexa from Hey Alexa Knit gifted me because she said it was an ugly green. And I didn't know what else to do with it because I only had the one skein of it. And I said, hat. I'm gonna make a hat out of this. And I'm in my cable era right now, so it's gonna be a cabled hat. Anyway, God, that looks terrible. Wow, you cannot see those cables at all. Yikes. I mean, I guess you can if you stretch it. But yeah, there's this 3x3 cable, and then there are some 2/1 cables, and they just alternate, and they go all the way around. It's easier to see them in person, I promise. Also, the lighting in here is just artificial lighting. We'll see if I keep, using this room to podcast. This is my craft room, by the way. That's pretty exciting. But maybe it's not that bad. I will probably block this hat just because I want the cables to look better. And this yarn is so nice. It is Farmer's Daughter Fibers. It was a club colorway from the Indigenous Collective. And the colorway is called Old Man Coyote. It is worsted weights, 50% local US alpaca, 50% organic merino. And it's so soft and delightful. And I had to use it. It was just sitting on my yarn shelf staring at me. And I was organizing my yarn and I just kept looking at it and squishing the cake. And so it had to become a hat. And I cannot believe that Alexa said this was an ugly green. It's a great green. Are you kidding me? So thank you, I guess, for thinking that it's ugly, because I think it's going to be delightful. This will definitely be finished by next time I record because it's a worsted weight hat. Yeah, nothing too exciting. Just 80 degrees and I'm knitting alpaca garments and hats, so yeah. So I've been working on that, and then I've also cast on the Emery Pullover by Joji Locatelli, which is an all-over cabled sweater with, is it drop shoulder? It might be drop shoulder. I hope it's drop shoulder. And I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, so I've been working on the back panel. I just cast this on like a week ago, maybe. And I'm trying to take my time with this project because we all know I am not a cable girly. I will do cables on hats because they're quick projects. I don't love knitting cables. I love how they look, but doing them, it's not for me. However, when this pattern was released, it has been living rent-free in my head. That beautiful mustard yellow pattern or like sweater that she has in the project photos just like has me drooling. And I have not been able to stop thinking about it. And I know that I don't enjoy knitting cables, but I need that sweater. I don't know what it is. I have never knit anything by Joji Locatelli before. I've never been like super tempted by any of her patterns. I like what she does, but I don't know. I've just never been super like drawn to her stuff. I don't know what it is about this sweater, but I am just obsessed. And so I'm sucking it up and I'm knitting the stupid cables. However, I am trying to take this project like pretty slow because I know that if I just sit and knit monogamously on this sweater, in about 2 weeks, I'm gonna be over it. I'm going to be so sick of these stupid cables and I'm gonna set it down and never pick it up again. So what I've been doing is I've been doing like 5 to 10 rows a day on this sweater. And I think that's been a good strategy because I'm not sick of it yet. Granted, I'm only this far into the back panel, but I have hope. I have so much hope that I'm going to finish this sweater because I'm dying to finish this sweater. Let's look at it. Let's get the strands out of the way. So we have this, sorry, my needles are dragging on the table. This diamond pattern, which is surrounded by some 2x2 cables. And then we have this she calls it a central plait. That's going to run down the front and the back of the sweater. And then we have another diamond cable with seed stitch that is surrounded by more 2x2 cables. So it's gorgeous. I think it's going to be absolutely stunning. I'm gonna set that down so the needle stop being obnoxious. I am knitting this out of Lions brand Fisherman's Wool in the color Brown Heather. At some point I had 3 skeins of this. I could not tell you where that 3rd skein is. It's gone. I thought we would find it when we moved because obviously I had to go through all of my yarn and pack everything up. 3rd skein, gone. Does not exist. So at some point I will need to get another skein of it and hope that the dye lot isn't different. But even if it is, I'm just gonna roll with it because I need the sweater. I have not felt this feral about a pattern in so long, but there's something about this that I'm just like, I need this sweater. Did I swatch for this? No. However, cables grow, like they're gonna block out. And I don't care if the sweater is oversized, if it's like too big, because I think an oversized, cozy, wool cabled sweater would be delightful. So no, I didn't swatch. I am knitting the 5th size, which is the size that the pattern calls for my bust circumference. So hopefully my gauge isn't smaller. I am knitting it on a larger needle size than the pattern recommends. I'm using US 9 5.5 millimeters because I know that I'm a tight knitter, and especially with cables, I did not want these cables to be like super tight, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I mean, this has some drape to it. Obviously it'll be nicer when it's blocked, but it doesn't feel like frighteningly stiff. So I think we'll be okay. And if it doesn't fit, I will just aggressively block the shit out of it and make it fit. But yeah, those are the 2 things that I've been like really focused on lately. They're 2 brand new whips. Like I said, everything else has either been finished, frogged, or just not touched since last time. Yeah. So, taking our time on this one. I don't know when it'll be done, but when am I gonna wear a worsted weight, all over cabled, 100% wool sweater? I can take my time. Okay. Let's do acquisitions because I don't really have much to show there. We just bought a house, so we are balling on a budget. However, I did order yarn from England. Lauren from Work Knits is an incredibly kind human, and I left a comment under one of her YouTube videos where she was talking about her sock yarn, and I asked if she was planning on doing sock sets anytime soon because I thought 2 of her sock colors went together beautifully. And she messaged me on Instagram and she was like, hey, I don't do sock sets right now, but if you want, I'll just like put one together for you and you can buy it. Okay. How do I say no to that? So she sent me a one-of-a-kind sock set with her colors Damson Gin and Plum Rose. and her sock yarn is 75% merino, 25% nylon. I think it's superwash merino. I should probably double check that. Pretty sure it's superwash. But look at these. The mini isn't showing up incredibly well on camera. I guess that's a little bit closer. But it is just this dusty, pale, rose pink color. And I just thought these two looked so nice together. These are definitely going to be socks in the near future, because I just think they look so like delicate and feminine, and I'm excited. And here's her tag. I also didn't notice until I was unpacking this yarn that she has ribbons. Obviously I noticed a ribbon, but she has her logo on the ribbon. That's so cool. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks that's cool, but I thought that was just a really nice touch. So yeah, the big one is 50 grams, the small one is 20 grams, I think, yeah. Which will be plenty for me to get a pair of socks out of. And I'm excited to cast those on. And then because shipping to Minnesota from England was like 20 bucks, I figured I couldn't just get one sock set and pay $20 shipping, because the sock set was like 17 bucks and it just seemed ridiculous to pay more for shipping than for the actual thing. So obviously I had to get another skein. So I got a skein of her natural 4-ply base, which is 100% Highland wool, non-superwash, in the color Pinot Noir. Isn't that gorgeous? This color is stunning. I didn't know what I was gonna make when I bought this. I just thought this color was gorgeous. It smells good. But I think I've decided I'm gonna make a bandana. Is it a good idea to make a bandana out of 100% non-superwash wool? DK? Probably not, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because I really like this color, and I've never made a bandana before actually. So I think it'll be a fun experiment to see if I wear bandanas, and yeah, I'm excited to get this on my needles. I'll probably cast this on soon. Yeah, what am I gonna make? I think I decided on an Italian bandana, also by Francesca of An Italian Knitter. It's just garter stitch and eyelets in a nice little triangle. Trying to, again, ball on a budget with some free patterns. But if you have suggestions for a cute little bandana pattern that is free, let a bitch know. But yes, these are my acquisitions. Can you tell I have a color scheme? Yeah, that's everything I've finished since last time. That's all the yarn that I've gotten since last time, other than things that have been like knit up. Things that I've been working on. How are we doing on time? 44 minutes. We'll do a couple questions because I don't want this to become like a feature film. Let's see. We'll do a couple. First question is, do you have any advice for people who are new to color work, projects to start with? How do you know if a pattern is good for beginners? I am not by any means like a color work expert. I can do color work and it mostly looks okay. Advice for people who are new, just do it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't, for a long time I looked at color work patterns and I was like, not for me. My skills aren't there. I'm not ready for that. If you can knit, you can do color work. It's not nearly as complicated or scary as you think it is. You're just knitting stitches with different yarns. My advice, other than that, keep an eye on your tension. I know a lot of people tend to knit color work really tightly because of the floats. Surprisingly, I have the opposite problem because I know I'm a really tight knitter, and then I overcompensate and knit my color work really loosely if I'm not careful. So I guess just kind of be aware of that. Don't pull your stitches too tightly, but don't knit them super loosely either. Just be aware of your tension. Just go for it and be aware of your tension. Projects to start with. My first colorwork project was the Goldenrod hat by Karolina Adamczyk. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'll put it in the description box. But it was a really beautiful colorwork hat pattern. I was still pretty new to knitting, and I just decided to go for it, right? But I didn't really know anything about yarn weights. So that pattern calls for, I think, an Aran weight yarn, and I did mine in DK, and then I was shocked when it didn't fit. So, yeah, maybe just like be aware of your yarn weights as well. But I would totally recommend that pattern for a first colorwork project. The floats aren't too long, it's a really pretty pattern, and I think a hat is just a really good colorwork project to start with in general, even if it's not that specific pattern, because it's a small project. Small project in the round all the way, and it really gives you the opportunity to just play and practice. I think a cowl would also be a good idea. I probably wouldn't do like an all-over colorwork sweater, especially if you aren't sure yet about how your tension is gonna play out. I also probably wouldn't recommend colorwork socks to start with, just because colorwork fabric tends to be really tight and it doesn't have that stretch that you might need to get the sock on your foot. I've also played that game and lost. So those are some ideas about projects that might not be a good idea to start with. And then how to know if a pattern is good for beginners. Again, if you can knit, like do the knit stitch, you can knit colorwork. However, if you're like super intimidated by it and you like just really want some like tips on finding a pattern, I would look for something that isn't going to have really long floats. So what you can look for is something that has teeny tiny little colorwork motifs all over the place, and not like big motifs, like big shapes, or I don't know. Look for something with little tiny motifs, I guess. Something that you're not going to have to worry about catching a lot of floats, if any. And that is also going to help with your tension because you're not going to have those super long floats or worry about catching your floats. So just look for something with, I don't want to say like complex color work, but something that almost looks super complex because it has all of these, little tiny things going on. That I think might be your best bet because it is going to give you, I think, the opportunity to practice your color work without having to catch those floats or having to deal with super long floats. And it's also going to give you more practice with like switching your yarn colors because you're going to have to switch them more often with those itty bitty motifs as opposed to larger motifs where you might be knitting 10, 12 stitches at a time with one color, if that makes any sense. If you need like clarification, you can like just comment or DM me on Instagram. My favorite item or pattern that I've ever knit. So the first one that came to mind when I was writing down all of these questions and my answers was the Dear Duomo sweater by Sung Hee Hong. I have knit 2 of these and would not at all be opposed to knitting a third one. I think I actually might cast on a third one. I have another acquisition I didn't talk about, but I don't know where it is. I bought a sweater quantity of bright red yarn. And I'm gonna make another Dear Duomo out of that. But I have the one that I knit for my husband right here. So the Dear Duomo is a bottom-up drop shoulder pullover. And it just has such a good classic like sweatshirt pullover type feel. It's not a complicated knit. It fits incredibly well. I have knit one for myself and one for my husband at this point. This one looks enormous because it is enormous. Wow, look at that fucking color blocking. Wow. But yeah, it has a really clean shoulder detail. I think I did actually modify the shoulders on this one. But it's just a basic pullover, but it's such a clean pattern. The fit is 5 out of 5 stars. Wow. I never like noticed the dye lot differences on this sweater until I'm like showing it to people. Yeah. I've knit 2 of these. Have plans to knit another. At least one more. I might make another for Hunter. I don't know. But I've actually been wearing Hunter's sometimes because he likes to keep the AC freezing in this house. So I've been stealing his sweater. So that would be probably my favorite garment pattern, at least sweater pattern that I've knit so far. I also really love my Vargo by Sari Nordland, which is a colorwork sweater, just a colorwork yoke. And then I added some colorwork around the cuffs for the sleeves and the bottom hem. That one is less of a just like throw on sweatshirty pattern, but I do really like that one as well. I'm not sure if I would knit it again, just because I don't think I need more than one Vargo, but I did thoroughly enjoy knitting it. That one would be a good colorwork sweater pattern to start with, maybe after you've done a couple of like hats and cowls, because the colorwork is only on the yoke and it does have tiny like repeats in the colorwork. So that's the garment that I would pick. I do also really love my So Summer shirt that I'm wearing under this, that pink one. But that might just be because she's brand new and I'm wearing her for the first time and I'm excited about it. I've knit obviously one of these Cozy Classic Raglan Light and have yarn for another, so I think this one might be a good contender. I really like my both of my Winter League pullover and Autumn League pullovers by Alexander Chappell of Two of Wands. Those are really nice patterns. Those are top-down raglans. As far as sock patterns, I love a good vanilla sock, you all know. I love all of my colorwork socks that I've done. But I think if I had to pick like one non-vanilla sock pattern, I really like the Spring Trellis socks by Cindy Hagen. I should have brought them in here to show you, but they are like an all over broken rib sock pattern. And I actually did not hooliganize that pattern at all. That pattern calls for you to knit them cuff down with a heel flap and gusset. And that is not how I knit my socks. I used to knit them like that, but in recent months / years, I have been a toe up, fish lips kiss heel person. But I followed that pattern to a T. I think the only thing that I modified in that pattern was the heel in the pattern. They might have called for a slip stitch heel, and I think that I modified it to be an Eye of Partridge heel just because I think it's prettier. But other than that, I followed that pattern, which is like not something I do with my sock patterns. But I really love them. I think the yarn I chose was beautiful. I really like the fit. Because it's all over a broken rib, they hug your foot really well. Yeah, I might actually make another pair of those. Yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah, those are the things that I've knit and like really loved. Alexa from Hey Alexa Knit just said hi, Pepper. Pepper's not in here because the cats are not allowed in the craft room because I want to be able to block things on my little table. I want to be able to do jigsaw puzzles. Our roommate is like a really crafty person and he would like to be able to paint in here. And none of those are compatible with Pepper, unfortunately. But I will tell Pep that you said hello. Pep fell down the laundry chute yesterday, or 2 days ago. I think it was yesterday. She's fine, but yeah, that's the thing that happened. Pepper lore. And I think we're gonna do one more question because we're closing in on an hour and that seems excessive. Someone asked, what is a time I hooliganed too close to the sun? And I don't think that has happened yet. Apart from, mistakes you make as an early knitter, like choosing the wrong weight of yarn for the colorwork hat that I knit, I don't think I've had a time where I disrespected a pattern and ended up with something that I hate or wasn't functional or wearable. I don't think it's happened yet. I mean, I've like played and lost yarn chicken, but I don't think that's like hooliganing too close to the sun. I think, I mean, I've definitely like disrespected patterns and then been like, maybe not the best call, but I've never ended up with something that I don't wear because of a modification that I made to a pattern, a modification that I knowingly, intentionally made. Like even this sweater, did I cast on way too many stitches under the yarn? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm still going to wear this sweater. I don't think it turned out badly. I think that, maybe it has a little bit too much positive ease. But I don't think it's going to prevent me from wearing and enjoying the sweater. Yeah, I don't think I have hooliganed too close to the sun as of yet. I'm sure that day is coming because I continue to just completely disrespect patterns and, like read them and go, that's nice, no thanks. Yeah, I will let you know, absolutely, if that day comes. I'm sure it's coming, and it's gonna be a dark day, but as of yet, I put stuff in the washing machine and the dryer. I don't swatch. I don't follow pattern instructions. I'm shocked that I've made it this far and have yet to regret choices that I've made. What can I say? I'm great at hooliganing. And with that, I think we are going to call it on the Q&A. I might do another video answering the rest of the questions because I still have 9 questions to get through. If you have any other questions for like a future Q&A, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, I also have on my Instagram a story highlight on my page, AMA for the Hooligan Knitter. I'll post another one at some point. But yeah, that is all that I have. I need to stop talking because it's been an hour at this point. But let me know what you're knitting. How have you been? I've missed doing this. I'm a little out of practice, but I'm excited to get back to a semi-regular podcasting schedule and keep showing you guys my stuff. But I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will be back hopefully in a couple of weeks. Bye, friends.